So there are so many commission videos out there that it feels a little redundant to do another one, which is why I hadn't done one until now. But the more I started thinking about it, I was talking to one of the girls on the team, Chrissy, and she's watched the videos, and still sometimes it can be really hard to like grasp. And I realized that we all have different ways of explaining it, and sometimes it's a matter of finding the person who explains it in the way that like you really click with, that like that's really helpful to be able to look at different kinds. So I figure I will throw mine in the mix. And so this is Lipstick Empire 101, Profit and Commissions. So you can't really separate the two, because what happens is part of the reason that it can be so like confusing to figure out exactly where your money is coming from and how it all works is because we look at it like there's 2 streams of income, but there's actually 3. So let's break down what those are first. If there's questions, I probably can't see them very well because I got the light shining, because I don't have good light in this room right now. Also, my kids are playing video games, so like fingers crossed they will chill. Could go either way though, you know how it is. So since I can't read your questions, I will answer them afterwards if I don't happen to catch them, okay? So the first, oh, also, do you like my super professional whiteboard here? Totally stole this from my kids upstairs because every time I go on the road training, I use the whiteboard nonstop for every subject. I'm going to need to get like a cute one for in here to do the rest of the Lipstick Empire videos. But for now, I just totally jacked this from upstairs and almost killed myself getting it downstairs. But we made it. It's still standing. I'm alive, so we're good. All right, so there are 3 streams of income for this. And the first one is your retail profit. Okay, so the first thing to understand is that the money that you make from selling the product is not commission. This can be really hard to grasp if you're from other direct sales companies, where when people purchase the product, they purchase it from the company sends it to them, and then they send you a check, and you get retail commission off of those sales. It is not like that. You have to instead think of yourself as a store, okay? This is a store, can't you tell? Okay? This is a retail store. Think of yourself as a brick and mortar place where you are going to purchase the products at wholesale and then sell them at retail. And the difference between the 2 prices is where you make your retail profit. Okay, so that could be anywhere from 20% all the way to the ideal of 50%. Okay, so that is our first stream of income. It's retail profit. Now, what is left after that? So you have a product, let's say you've got 1 tube of LipSense. It's $25 retail, and it has been purchased by a distributor for 50% off, which is $12.50, and they assign it a product value of PV, okay? So the difference between these is the possible retail profit that the distributor who purchased it could have. You probably hear my children screaming. Okay. So, because there is a possible profit of another $12.50 PV, or $12.50 off of each LipSense that's bought, the company determines your commission, which is what your downline buys, off of not the $25 retail price, but off of this $12.50 PV, because they already pocketed the other half of it. Does that make sense? So that's why your commission is figured off of the $12.50 PV, or however much PV your downline purchases each month, okay? So, hopefully that part made sense. So that's like the first piece. Understanding retail profit is 1 stream of income. What you make from selling the product yourself is not commission, and it's not part of the commission plan, okay? Hopefully that helps. All right, the second thing that we're going to talk about is actual commission. So, of course, let's put it over here. First, we have retail profit. Then from what's left, the company figures commission. But commission is not the entire part of it. Commission is only for the first through 100 PV. So, your downline, you get paid commission off of only that first 100 PV. Okay, but don't freak out. Okay, because there is more. It's just that that's not commission. And so it can be very confusing if you don't understand that they're talking about the first 100 PV when they say commission. When you look at it all laid out on the papers and the graphics, then it looks like it's 10%, 20%, 30%, 5%, 5%. Yes, it is. But it's only on that first 100 PV. So we're talking about $10, $20, $30, $5, and $5 on your first through fifth line. Those are the lines you get paid on. Everything after your fifth line, you don't get paid on that. Instead of things going really far down deep and you not making that much money on each level, they have like lifted it up to levels 1 through 5, and then we have a greater amount of money that we make on those 5, okay? This is actually one of the best commission plans I've ever seen. And by commission, I mean overall, not just the commission piece. The third part of that is your group sales volume. Okay? So that is a bonus that you get paid on everything after the 1 through 100. So it's 101 PV to no limit. Okay? 101 PV plus. Now, it can get a little confusing if you start out talking about your first line. So instead, we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about lines 2 through 5 first, and we're going to break it down, okay? So, commission. Now that we know that the 3 kinds, now we're going to break them down a little bit more, okay? So, commission. So, on your line 2, 3, 4, and 5, you get 20%, which equals $20 per person who placed at least 100 PV. If they place less than that, then it's scaled down accordingly, and it's 20% of that, okay? So let's say $20 per person. Okay? The third line is 30%, which equals $30 per person. And then we go to 5%, 5%, and that equals $5 per person. Okay? So, this is what you get paid in commission each month for anybody who's placed 1 through 100 PV in a month where you have also done the same. Okay? You've placed your qualifying order. So, this is commission. And on your first line, it is 10% or $10. Okay? So, that part is the same. Okay? So $10 per person, $20 per person, $30 per person, 5 and 5. If they have placed a 100 PV order in a month where you have also done it. So hopefully that helps. That is commission. Okay? Now that's not all there is, but it's important to understand that there's piece 1, which is retail profit, piece 2, which is commission, which is only on that first 100 PV, and then there's group sales volume. And that bonus on that group sales volume is for 101, the 101st PV on to no limit, okay? So, there we've got that piece. And now we're going to talk about the part that really has a tendency to get people a little bit confused. So, let's talk about what you have to do in order to get this group sales volume bonus. Now, this is where the big money comes in. This is where people start getting thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. When you don't have 5 on your first line, you don't get anything else. It goes down in lines of 5, okay? So it takes 5 people on your first line and then 5 people on your second line for you to gather the bonus from that month for that 101 PV forward. Does that make sense? So 5 is what unlocks it. You also get a rank off of that. But that's kind of secondary to the paycheck, if that makes sense. Okay? So what are the keys to getting group sales volume bonuses? A 300 PV order on your part, okay, for you, and then 5 on each line who have also placed that 300 PV order. This is the key, okay? This is what unlocks it. If I was a cute little artist, I would draw a key really quick right here. Hold on. Let me try. Okay. That is the key. It unlocks your bonus. 300 PV from you, and each line having 300 PV from 5 different people. It doesn't matter where on that line it is. It doesn't have to come through a certain tree or leg. If you're familiar with other direct sales companies, like there's all kinds of other rules that there could be, and there's not, okay? So, that is the key that unlocks your group sales bonuses. Now, for line 2, you get, and of course that's the moment I blank, you get 6% of all the PV that was placed after 100 PV and on. Okay? So if you have that $300 PV order and you have 5 different people on that second line who have placed a 300 PV order, then off of everybody on that line, you get 6% of all of the 100 and on PV. Okay? So that can obviously add up really, really quick, especially if you've got girls that do vendor shows or Facebook parties. Okay? So line 3, you're getting 4%. Yeah, 3, 2. Okay, cool. And that is on 101 on. Okay? Line 4 is 3% on 101 on. And again, each time, what do you have to have? You have to have the key. Okay? You have to have the key that unlocks it. Do you guys remember what the key is? Okay? You have to have the key each time to unlock it. You can leave a lot of money on the table. Let's say you've got a line, you've got an organization where in different places, whoops, that's not 3%, that's 2%. There we go. 2%. Let's say you've got a line, an organization that has people all the way down to the 5th line. And maybe on your 4th line or your 3rd line, you've got people that are placing huge orders every month. They are really moving a lot of product. But on your 2nd line, you've only got 3 girls who are placing that 300 PV order. That means that your group sales bonus, it stops. It stops there, and all of that other stuff, like, you don't actually get it yet. Not until you've got that 5 that's unlocking it. Okay? 101 on. Okay? And you have to have that key. Boop. It looks like some kind of messed up male-female signal, but it's sign. But it's not. It's a key. I'm just not a very good artist. All right. So, all of these, lines 2 through 5, the way you get that group sales volume bonus is exactly the same. You need 300 PV placed by you, and you need 5 people who have placed a 300 PV order to unlock the group sales volume bonus on that line. Okay? Now, the reason I did 2 through 5 is because it's the same for all of those and it has the highest standards, okay? Now, here's the really cool part. Because it would kind of suck if, as you got started, you could never really get a nice, big, exciting check until you had 5 girls. But they have said they're all about you, they're all about us, and so for your first line, okay, your first line, you get the group sales volume bonus of 10% of that 101 PV to no limit, but you don't have to have a key to unlock it, okay? Now, you have to have 5 on your first line for it to go down and start looking at your second line. But on this first one, all you have to do is have placed a 100 PV order, okay? And you will get 10%, not just the 10% commission, which is $10, but you will also get that 10% group sales volume bonus on your entire first line, okay? So that means when you're starting out and you don't have 5 girls yet, you haven't hit Royal in Waiting yet, that's okay. Because if you've got one girl that's killing it and she's doing like 6,000 PV each month, you're getting $600. Because you're getting that first $10 on the 1 through 100 PD, but you're also getting the 10% off of everything else. And that doesn't wait to kick in until you've got 5 on that line, which is super, super, super exciting. Yes, the first line is special, but that's why I waited till the end to explain it, because if you understand like the foundation, then it's easier to understand that this is an exception, okay? So the first line, there's exceptions to it. You get that group sales volume bonus off of a 100 PD order, and you do not need that key to unlock it, okay? So I hope that this helps you understand. You've got retail profit, which is the difference between what you bought your product for and what you sold it. This is based purely off of you and your work. Okay, so you have a chance to be making 50% of the product cost, which is a 100% return on your investment, which is a huge, huge profit margin. That's part of what's so exciting about this, is that you don't have to build a downline before you can see significant profit, okay? That's very, very exciting. That is retail profit. It is not commission, okay? Then we have commission, and that is based off of the first 100 PV in your downline. You unlock that by placing a 100 PV order. 10% on your first line, 20% on your second line, 30% on your third line, 5% on your fourth and fifth. Comes out to $10, $20, $30, $5, and $5 on each person who's placed a 100 PV order in a month that you have, okay? That's commission. But the bonus money comes with that key of 300 PV from you and 5 of them on each line with 300 PV, okay? And that's where you unlock these percentages, all right? Now, of course, the first line is special. We talked about that. You can basically just make it easy on yourself and think, I get 10% of whatever PV my first line places on any given month as long as I've placed a 100 PV order, okay? So that will pretty much, help you with that. There was one other thing that I wanted to tell you about group sales volume, and I was just about to do it, and then it started to fly out of my brain. So let me look and see if there are any questions that I can see. 5 is the magic number. Best compensation. Oh, that's what it was. I was going to tell you. Okay. So this doesn't look super flashy. Some of you know my story. I had seen all of the comp plans on paper. They looked like super amazing. But then in reality, I never made any money. This doesn't have flashy numbers that wow you, but it really turns out to money in your pocket. And you guys know I make far more than $10,000 a month now because of this plan. So a lot of plans, you'll look and they dazzle you and they say, oh my gosh, we go down to all lines forever, or we go down to the 12th line, or they have higher amounts that it looks like you're getting paid in commission. But because there's all these different things they do, you don't actually make a lot of money. So I had a plan that I worked on, and it looked like it should have been much better. But the most I ever made in a month was $800. And I was high up, okay? I hadn't reached what would be the equivalent of Crown Princess. I was like the equivalent of like a countess or a duchess, okay? But when I was a duchess with this company, I was making $10,000, okay? So now, granted, I have a very wide first line, so that's part of it because I was making 10% of all that. Okay, so that's not necessarily normal. If you have a smaller first line, then your paychecks would not necessarily grow quite as quickly. But that's what's so exciting about this, okay? It's not held back based on rank. So let me explain to you what used to happen, okay? So with many companies, specifically one I'm really familiar with, what happens is, okay, so you get paid commission, okay? You get paid commission on your sales. So I think I would get up to like 30% commission on the sales. But then the rest of that money, it would get swept away, okay? And then what they would take off of every line what was left over after they paid commission, and they would put it over in a big pool over here, okay? So I never had access to the bonus money. You know how we can unlock our own bonus money with that key? Okay, it didn't work that way, and in most companies it doesn't. Instead, that money comes over here and it starts filling up this pool, okay? And it's all the money left over after the main commission is paid, and it all goes over to this pool. And then how you get a piece of this, okay, I drew it like it was filling up with water, but now we're going to pretend it's all solid, and now it's a pie, okay? So how do you get a piece of this pie? By hitting a rank, okay? If you hit a rank that would be the equivalent of hitting like Crown Princess, then you got one share of all of the money that was swept away over here that month, okay? So that meant that if you wanted the big money, the bonuses, it was at that time one piece of this pie was usually about $10,000, but of course it varied each month. And then there was also another segment that was actually bigger, but it went to a smaller pool of like the super elite. This would be like the equivalent of like Empress and above, okay? And so that would come over here. Okay, so all of your group sales bonus money was taken over here, and then it was divided by the amount of people who qualified for it that month, and then those people got the bonus. Not from their own team, from other people's teams. And so as you can imagine, the pressure to hit certain ranks every single month was extremely, extremely high because their paycheck was dependent upon it. So it created all kinds of manipulation, a lot of pressure that would work its way all the way down. You know how here we're kind of like, look, you've got 6 months to place a 100 PV order and stay active. If you haven't sold your product and you don't have a downline, like work on selling that product. Don't necessarily order more unless you need it. I teach financial responsibility. What should you be ordering? What's good for your business? Now, do you want to make a business investment? That's fantastic because there's going to be a great turnaround. I highly encourage that where it's financially responsible. But I'm never going to tell a girl to put a 750 PV order on her credit card month after month. First of all, I wouldn't anyways. But because my paycheck is not dependent on me hitting a rank to get a piece of the pie. No, my bonus money from my team is sitting there ready to be unlocked any month simply by 5 girls placing the line. I don't ever have access to her bonus money, just my team's. This is so huge. This means that like it behooves you to be pouring into your own team instead of worrying about like just hitting that rank, okay? Because it doesn't matter what your team was necessarily doing as long as you had those strategically placed orders, and then people would go in and they would place them themselves to get that money. Instead, it just keeps the whole system honest. It keeps your team's bonus money there for you. So I had a very wide first line. That meant that my money stayed there for me, and I didn't have to rank princess or duchess or countess. I was making insane paychecks, to me, as a lady. I was making paychecks as a lady that were more than a lot of girls at princess because my first line was wide and it just hadn't trickled its way down. But because that money wasn't taken away from me for the bigwigs to get a piece of, it was there for me. So as it moved down each month to my second and third and fourth line each month, I wish it had been that fast, over the course of like a year, that money was sitting there waiting for me to unlock, okay? So I guess I've not only taught you about our profit and commission plan, but I also wanted to explain to you why it's so special and why it helps keep the company healthy. It eliminates a lot of the manipulation. It makes it where you, being a supportive and active leader, puts money in your own pocket, not in the crown princesses or empresses or rulers' pockets. Okay? So that's really exciting and super awesome. I hope that helps. I think sometimes for those of us who have been with other MLMs, it's really obvious how different this is than other companies, but it's really good for those of you who are like a girl that's like, I've never sold anything before, to understand that you ended up in a company has a really, really healthy and very profitable commission plan. It's one that doesn't just look good when you write it down. It actually pays out, and that is not usual. It is very unique, and it's really super awesome, okay? All right, so if anybody has questions, you guys can post them there, and I'll try to answer them. If you're watching this on YouTube, I am going to put it up for there to help other girls. And you've got questions, let me know. Or if you are searching for a team, I might be your girl. I could probably help you get going. So go ahead and you can message me or contact me through my website, luxintherough.com. And then, let's see, I think that's it, okay? Hopefully that was at least helpful. If this did not help it click in your brain, you could go look up, there's a video of Joni explaining the commission plan. Jada, she has a video called Kitchen Commission, and it's super awesome. No, ma'am. Nope, you need to wait. Hold on, I'll give you a hug in 1 second, baby. And then Lisa Tippin Morris has a great commission explanation video, okay? And then there's a lot more, just decline that call. There are tons and tons of great commission videos out there. I just haven't heard it explained just like that, so I thought I would throw that out there in case it helps somebody, okay? All right.